Hello, my spoiler alert friends. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About It. You got to know that I love you guys and I'm here to support and talk about anime because I am on, I guess you could call it like a mini trip. It's not a trip really, but I'm away celebrating my sister's wedding. And I'm like, yo, I got to get out here for the people. I got to come on here and talk to you guys. So I'm going to talk about 86. So I don't know, sometimes I get in these vibes where I'm like everything I was watching, I just kind of stopped watching. And then I'll go back to something else that I had stopped watching before. And 86 was one where I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of feeling 86 this weekend. So turn on 86, watching that. The Spearhead group that was basically made it to freedom, fought their way through all of the robots and made it to a peaceful land. They're like, nah, we're kind of over this piece. We got to go back and fight. And when I think about it, it's really, I can understand it, right? Because it's like their whole lives, basically, they have been fighting. They have been in war. They have been essentially fighting for their life. Like they expected to die because everyone else in the 86 division has died, but they didn't. They lived. And all of their friends died. There's only I think 6 of them that are left. And so they're in this peaceful, I don't know what the name of this it's not the Republic, but it's something. They're in a peaceful area where now it's like, well, we don't need to worry about war. We're just kind of existing and living and walking our day to day. Yeah, there's still some hate for people that look like us, you know, with the brown hair and the eyes and all that stuff. Like their I quote unquote race is hated still amongst a lot of people. So they still deal with that, but not to the degree that they would have dealt with it in their old land, right? So they're trying to go about day-to-day life, shopping, working a regular job, doing stuff like that. And essentially they come to the conclusion, all of them separately, all of them came to the conclusion like, yo, I think I'm done here. The peace has been nice. It's been a nice little break, but we got to go back and keep fighting because their feeling is all of our comrades died. And this is where I disagree. I'm going to be real. This is where I disagree. It's like all of their comrades died, but they died not knowing that there was something else down the line anyway. So they died fighting, and now they feel like survivor's guilt, essentially, where they're like, dang, we survived. We made it. Why us? Why we're like the lucky few? They didn't like that idea. So they want to go back to the war, back to the front lines and battle. And if they make it, and then the guy that they're staying with is like, okay, well, what are you going to do once that's done? Because the war will inevitably end. It will eventually end. You can't war for eternity. There will be a time when there is no war. So what are you going to do then? How are you going to reconcile that you are still alive even after that? And so I feel like that's a good question. And I'd like to pose that to the comments in the group, because really, what do you do in that situation? If what you feel in your heart is, I shouldn't be alive, all of my friends died fighting, so I'm going to keep fighting. But then once the fighting is actually done, because I can get it when it's like there's still a war going on, and here we are just kind of like, staying away. I can get feeling like, no, we should get back in there. But once the war is done, once all the combat is over, what do you do? So that's my question, my let's talk about it for the comments. And then, yeah, just kind of like, I like where they're going with it. I felt like the shoe was going to drop here soon because everything just seemed like it was just too fluffy for them. They're like, we don't live this kind of life. It wasn't perfect, obviously, because they were still dealing with like racial things, but it was way too cookie cutter for what they had come from. So I can see why they were like a little uneasy and why I, as a spectator watching, felt like the shoe's about to drop. So what they're going to be doing now, they're going to basically officer candidate school, like we have at least in the U.S., where you're not like a regular enlisted soldier. You're now an officer, and life is a little bit different for you there. And I think the guy who's been watching over him wanted them to do that because he's like, there's way more opportunities if you do this than going the other way. And I think he's like, you're less likely to die if you do this. You're a brain instead of the brawn. So I'm actually excited to see what happens next in the show now. I know that I stopped watching before because they changed the voice of the I forget what they call them. See, it's been so long that I forget like what each position was called, but the girl who was basically like their commander, who was like telling them what zones the robots were attacking in and all that stuff. Like, they changed their voice, and man, when they do character voice changes, it just kind of kills a show for me. But everybody else's voice is basically the same, and the storyline is good, so I'm just gonna keep watching. Especially in the interim while we're waiting on dubbed episodes of My Hero Academia. So that's what I want. That's what I've been on. That's what I watch. Again, jump in the comments. Tell me what you think. What do you do? What do you do in that situation? Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.